In today's video, I want to talk about tanks in Dragonheir Silent God. So we're going to do our top 10 best epic tanks in the game, guys. And tanks are generally very important, not only for PvP, but for PvE as well. You've seen there are a lot of different strategies for dungeons as well, where tanks tend to be very, very important for your team. Not only that they will be the main champions that will bring defense down and will bring you some sort of control in most of the cases, but they will give you a lot of value just all around. Right here we are doing an arena fight, and you see that tank, Horus, is constantly keeping my team busy while I'm getting damaged on the rest of the team, which can be pretty damn annoying. I just don't seem to be able to kill that specific tank, and it's mainly because he has a lot of support at the back, you know. And it's not a problem. I can change strategies. I can go and defeat him in a different way. But I just wanted to point out how important tanks are and how they can keep you busy and how they can actually give value to your team, you know. And there are some of them that are very niche for arena, while there's some different tanks that are more of a general use, and that's what I want to prioritize in today's video. The first hero that we have on the list, guys, is going to be no one else but Horus. Everybody will get him for free once you logged in for 3 days in the game, and he's a pretty solid tank. Now, there are a couple of issues with him, and that's mainly he doesn't have 100% chance to land the decreased attack. But other than that, he's a pretty solid hero, and he will give you a lot of utility in PvE content. In PvP, he's pretty helpful too, but especially in PvE on the waves, and just generally he will bring quite a bit of utility. A Captain Aura, 24% HP in all battles, which is very nice. The passive, when taking damage, the hero has a 50% chance to obtain a shield for 5 seconds. The effect only triggers every 7 seconds. Then you have the battle skill, and this is where my problem is, and I would suggest you to don't invest your scrolls into him early on, because you might pull a better tank that will bring you more utility and will be more reliable as a decreased attack hero as well. Deals damage to the enemy with a 75% chance to put attack penalty for 5 seconds. So that's my problem. It's not 100% even if you scroll him. Then you have the ultimate skill, which is pretty nice, a fairly decent range. Stops attacking and unleashes battle cry forward with a 100% chance of taunting enemies within range for 5 seconds and dealing damage. Gains damage reduction for 5 seconds and hit recovery for 5 more seconds. So he's gaining a bit of healing. The damage reduction is nice because you're getting 30% less damage. And the cooldowns are pretty nice for an ultimate skill. 16 seconds, initial charge time 9 seconds. So he's pretty useful. The taunt is going to be nice for arena as well. The damage reduction just generally will be very, very solid. The next hero that I have on the list, guys, as a top 10 tank in Dragonheir from the epic rarity, is gonna be Isolde. She's a pretty nice one. I don't have her. Hopefully I'm gonna get her soon. We have a Captain Aura for all battles, 24% defense, fairly decent stats. And the passive, shields granted by this hero will bring a damage reduction to your entire team that's under shield, okay? The battle skill deals damage to the current target and grants defense up to allies within range for 5 seconds. Then you have the ultimate skill, deals fire damage to enemies within range with a chance to put attack penalty. This will be 100% once you tome her, and then will grant a shield to all allies within range. Has a pretty good range for this, and for the defense up as well is a fairly decent range, you know. Now usually the tanks are at the front, so when you're just fighting bosses, if your heroes are spread around, this defense up won't really benefit them, you know. But she's a pretty solid tank, and I don't necessarily think that she's amazing for arena, but for PvE content, she's actually pretty solid. She can definitely offer you some value, you know? Moving over to the next tank that we have on the list, guys. And you know what? This is my ultimate favorite epic tank in the game, and I am using him everywhere. PvP, PvE. Now, he's not necessarily the best for PvP, because he doesn't really bring any crowd control whatsoever. But for the moment, that's what I have leveled up, and I'm freaking loving Furbot. He was the first hero I scrolled in Dragonheir, guys. Captain Aura for dungeons, 24% defense. The passive, when dealing damage to enemies under debuffs, the hero gains a 30% chance to heal the ally with the lowest HP and dispel a debuff from them. That can be even on himself if he's the lowest HP. The more debuffs on the attacked enemy, the bigger the healing. Then you have the battle skill, generates a healing nexus around the hero for 6 seconds, healing allies within range every 1 second. And the healing is based on his defense. The more defense you have, the more healing you're getting. And this has a very good range as well. Then you have the ultimate skill, deals damage to enemies within range, which is nice AoE, and has a chance to land attack penalty, the bigger version. This will be 100% once you tome him. Now, of course, this is a 20 seconds ultimate skill, so it's not gonna be reliable enough as the only decrease attack hero, especially for the Vortex, you know? But I'm loving this bad boy. The next one that we have on the list, guys, and we had more than 10 tanks in Dragonheir, guys, epic tanks. Some of them, they were kind of like fighting for the top 10, and Garrett actually made my top 10, comparing him with Naguk or other heroes that are more niche just for arena. So Garrett will bring you quite a bit of a utility as well. With the passive, when the hero takes damage that exceeds 20% of his max HP, will gain a healing based of 50% of the damage received. The battle skill, the hero gains defense up, the bigger version, then strikes an enemy and deals damage, and reduces the damage taken from that enemy by 30% for 5 seconds. So this will occur every 10 seconds, guys, which will allow you to keep that damage reduction up for a long time, you know, which is very, very helpful. Then you have the ultimate skill with a pretty good range, deals poison damage to enemies with a chance to land attack penalty. Fully scrolled is gonna be 100% chance, and I'm in between fully scrolled, fully tomed. I don't even know how to call them anymore because every game has a different name for it, guys. But this hero can be pretty nice because of the AoE attack penalty. This can be decent for arena as well. Now, he doesn't really bring you much else for arena, for PvP, but for PvE content, he's definitely gonna be pretty damn solid. And moving over to the next one, she's gonna be more unique. If you guys know how the Dauntless heroes work, you're gonna understand exactly how decent she can be. Lydia. So, with a passive, every 5 basic attacks grants a shield to the hero and the ally with the lowest HP. So that can be pretty helpful, and the shield is for 12 seconds. And if you are giving her attack speed, you're giving her a lot of increased attack speed, she's gonna use the basic attack very, very often. That's what Dauntless heroes are known for, to spray the basic skill, you know? Pretty good defense. Then you have the battle skill, which gains immortality for 5 seconds and attack speed up, the bigger version, for 5 seconds, which will be awesome. Then the ultimate skill is a very unique skill because not many heroes do this, and it covers the entire area. Grants control immunity to all allies for 10 seconds, and unleashes the battle skill 1. So basically you use this, unleash the battle skill as well, and you're gonna gain the immortality too, and you're gonna have the attack speed up, which is gonna be very nice because that basic skill is gonna get sprayed. Now, control immunity, guys, will block all the crowd control debuffs, stun, blind, etc. While if you're using just a regular block debuffs hero, you're only gonna block decrease attack, you're gonna block poisons, you're gonna block heal reduction, etc. So they have kind of like 2 different things in the coding in this game. Same with buffs, for example. So think about it in the following way. Buffs increase defense, increase attack. Shield, for example, is coded as a different thing. It's not considered as a regular buff. So that's why when you're removing buffs, you're not actually removing the shield. You need either a different hero that dispels shield or that ignores shield, you know. So Lydia will make our top 10, guys. She can be interesting for arena, she can be interesting for PvE as well, and she's definitely gonna be pretty interesting in a Dauntless comp. Moving over to the next one, and here we have quite a few decent. Naguk, he's fairly interesting. He has a chance to put in some work with this skill and just extend the static field because of his passive, which will have a chance to stun basically the entire enemy team. But you need to use the skill in order to do it, and it might not be as great. Then we have Voltag, another lightning hero tank. Resistance aura for City of Trials battles. The passive, for each buff the hero has, the hero gains an extra 15% accuracy and 15% defense. The effect stacks up to 10 times. The more buffs, the more defense you're gonna get, the harder will be to kill this bad boy. The battle skill deals damage to enemies within range, and grants defense up. At the same time, gains a shield for 10 seconds. Fairly decent range. Then, the ultimate skill hammers 3 times at a target direction, each dealing damage to enemies within range, with a chance to dispel one buff from them. If enemies don't have any buffs after 3 hammer strikes, the skill has a chance to inflict attack penalty and accuracy penalty for 10 seconds. Now, it's the smaller version of attack down, but this will be a 100% chance and a 75% chance to dispel buffs from the enemies with each hit, which will be actually very, very helpful, you know. I do think it's going to be pretty interesting as a tank for specific bosses where you need to remove their buffs, you know. And pretty interesting for Arena as well as a tank, you know. Moving over to the next one, guys. And that is my second most favorite tank, epic tank in the game, and that's Garrett. He's a new addition. And my god, what a beast. I'm actually working on him next for my Radiance team for whenever I'm getting there ready. Luckily, I summoned him recently. Captain Aura, defense for all battles. The passive, when the hero takes damage, there's a chance that the hero will gain 1 stack of defense up permanently and cannot be dispelled. And it can stack up to 20 times. So basically, you can increase his defense by 40% and nobody can remove that when he's taking damage. That's the only thing that he needs to do. And guess what? It's gonna happen. Great for Arena, great for PvE content too. The battle skill deals radiant damage to the enemy with a 100% chance to knock up the target, then grants hit recovery to the hero for 10 seconds. So he's gonna be able to get some healing back when he's gonna get hit, and a 100% chance to knock up a target. The ultimate skill dispels all debuffs from the hero and heals all allies by 600% defense. So it's gonna cover the entire area. He's gonna cleanse himself and heal the entire team. No decreased attack, but you know what? He's still very, very powerful as a hero, man. Very good healing, and just generally, it's gonna be very, very solid. Moving over to the next one that we have on the list, guys. And we do have Kamari, which is interesting, but he's not that great to make my top 10, honestly. Clovis, on the other hand, he is more interesting. Captain Aura in all battles, 24% defense, that's already a plus. The passive, the hero gains 1 stack of persistence for each enemy that is nearby up to 3 attacks. Each stack increases defense by 10%. So that's what persistence does. He can increase his defense up to 3 stacks, and that will be 30%. Then, the battle skill, there is a 75% chance, Taunted 100, to taunt enemies for 5 seconds, gains defense up, the bigger version. And the ultimate skill ramps into an enemy, dealing radiant damage and reducing their ultimate energy by 20% with a 100% chance to put attack penalty for 10 seconds, the bigger version. So this is already great for PvE, you know. For PvP, it seems that he only touches a target, so it's not going to be as effective as you might think or as you might like him to be. But he's actually a pretty interesting tank. If you don't have other better versions that I just named before, definitely consider him on your list. Moving over to the next one is going to be Dueling from the Radiance element again, and Captain Aura for Gladiator Arena, 30%. You have the passive, the hero takes 1% less damage for every 3% HP lost. The battle skill deals radiant damage to enemies within range with a chance to taunt and put attack penalty, the smaller version. This will be a 100% chance, and I like the idea of taunting, 100% chance, you know, on a battle skill. Fairly decent range too. The ultimate skill, he's gonna protect your team, he's gonna support your team, grants ally protection to all allies within range for 10 seconds, and grants defense up to and recovery over time to the hero. So this will be actually pretty nice to help the rest of your team to stay alive, you know. I do think you will need to kind of like bring in a different hero for that decreased attack for the bigger version, but you can do it, and it doesn't need to be a tank if you're using him, you know. The next one that we have on the list, guys, and that will be the last one that will be part of my top 10 as a tank, is gonna be Irma. So she's pretty unique as well from the Necrosis element. has a 30% chance of recharging the hero's ultimate energy by 5% when taking damage, which is pretty nice. The battle skill deals necrotic damage to an enemy and gains hit recovery for 5 seconds. Then you have the ultimate skill, the creme de la creme, deals necrotic damage to enemies within range and grants control immunity and damage reduction to allies within range. So she could be more in the category of a support hero rather than a tank, but she's just doing so much stuff, and the damage reduction and control immunity is gonna be massive for PvP, and it's gonna be massive for a specific content where you're encountering a lot of waves that are crowd controlling you guys. But this is actually a very, very solid tank. Of course, we do have other ones that are fairly decent, interesting as tanks. Like we have Dalban right here. He's awesome for PvP, you know, like he's pretty good because of the passive, which will keep him alive, you know, so he can be pretty annoying. But I don't think he brings that much utility all around to make my top 10. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. Do you have a different tank that you would place in the top 10, an epic tank? Let me just mention that again. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.